Back from the ashes of a devastating fire, a locally owned business has now returned from this scene you see right here. Today is the 2-year mark since that fire forced several businesses out of their locations on Breckenridge Lane in St. Matthews. The fire started in the electronics store called Simply Mac. And in the 2 years since some of those businesses moved, others chose to rebuild. Elle Smith shows us why Schellers Fitness and Cycling decided to come back and how they made it through a fire and the pandemic.
It's been 2 years of trials since that fire in 2019, but today the owners of Schellers said that they've made it through, but they never want to do it again.
The sign says it all, open for business. But if you go back to June 17, 2019, the scene at Schellers was completely different. On that day, a fire ripped through the St. Matthews strip mall. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to where it started next door. But unfortunately, Schellers was a complete loss due to the water damage. But even on that day 2 years ago, co-owner Marty Scheller knew he wanted to rebuild.
We'll soldier on and we'll be back in some way, shape, or form, and we'll be back at it eventually.
And rebuild they did. Today inside the store, employees worked diligently as customers returned to the longtime neighborhood bike store. In the past 2 years, Schellers has gone through a fire, a temporary location, a pandemic, and opened a new location. 18-year employee John Molnar says it's been a process, but he sure doesn't want to go through it again.
It's been a lot of work, and all these guys, all of us sticking together through it all, I didn't know if we were all going to be able to do it.
Despite the difficulties of the past 2 years, the Schellers welcome the sound of a full store.
From a business standpoint, I don't know that a business person can go through a more traumatic event. To have a total loss of a business through any natural disaster is difficult.
There has been a bike store in St. Matthews for about 45 years, and that played a huge role in why the Schellers wanted to return.
The St. Matthews community really feels some ownership for this store because it's been here so long, and that's great. We love that.
Schellers wasn't the only store to reopen. The Domino's, also impacted by the fire, has returned as well. Simply Mac moved to a different location. For WHAS 11 News, I'm Elle Smith.